Hi, wouldn't it be great if we learn to use our words to uplift people? We use our words to be kind. We use our words to help another person to become highly successful in life. Is that we also use our words to transform our life and bring prosperity to ourselves. Wouldn't that be cool if we knew how to use our words? Well, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because today's topic is about verbal bullying and how we use our words to destroy other people's lives. Hey, my name is Sean Harvey. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about how we can stop verbal bullying. Okay, now, guys, I want to share with you today the power of words. Words are so powerful that God used these words to create the heavens and the earth. He used the word to create the universe. So that was a sign, right? That he was trying to tell us that we need to use our words to create the things that we want to have, right? But we want to create stuff that is powerful and also positive that can help someone else. You also have to understand is that when God created the earth, he created the earth for our enjoyment, not for his, but for our enjoyment. So therefore, when I use my words, I use my words so that I can enrich someone else's life. I can make their life better. So you have to understand that words are super powerful, right? That our words are used to create things. Okay? So now let's go back to the power of words. Words can transform a person's life, right? Words create imagination. Okay? And actually they go hand in hand. Like imagination can create words, but words can also create imagination. Words can create a vision. Words can create direction. Words give direction. All right. So the verbal bullying, right? People are using the words in a negative way. They're creating destruction. And you have to understand that everything we do in life is like a seed. When you plant a seed in the ground, that seed knows exactly what to do. It will grow into the tree that the seed is. Okay, so that's how words are. Words are seeds. When I say something to you, those words will be sown into your mind, and those seeds will grow into what that word was. Okay, that's why it's so important that we learn how to speak to each other in a kind way, because that's the seed that we want to grow into each other. Now, let's say, for instance, when you were a child, you were being bullied. Someone was calling you names in school. Maybe someone was calling you pizza face, or someone was teasing you about your hair, or someone was teasing you about your glasses, or someone was teasing you about your school bag or the clothes that you're wearing, or they were teasing you about the shape of your body. They were probably saying that you were fat or you were too skinny, there's a lot of things that people can tease you about. You can see all of those words are used to create harm. They're used to destroy another person's self esteem. But for those who went through that, you're in the right place because I'm going to give you some words of advice that are going to help you to overcome that. Because there are people who are still living those um, thoughts that happened maybe 20, 30 years ago, and it's still having it's still driving their life, right? And I'm going to tell you why that happens. Okay, and today we're going to break it, right? We're going to get a breakthrough. I'm going to show you how we can break the bad experiences that we had 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, right? What you have to understand, right? This is what's blind to many people is that we actually created our own identity. Now, what do I mean by that, right? Well, you have to understand that when a negative experience happened to you, okay, now let's use it in the context of verbal bullying. Let's say, for instance, somebody called your name that hurt your feelings. Now, this can come from anybody. It can come from a friend that you wanted to be in a relationship with. It could have came from a parent. It could have came from a relative, like an uncle or grandparent or a cousin. But it was someone that you wanted to have a connection with, and they called you names and they made you feel bad. You right put a word to that meaning. So you put a meaning to that experience, right? And 9 out of 10 times, you probably said that there's something wrong with me, right? But you put a particular word to it. And that word, you started to live. With that word, you created your identity. It's the same way how God used his word to create the universe. We use our words to create our identity. So when a family member calls you names, right, and says that there's something wrong with you, that you can do better, or whatever the case is, right? You put a meaning to that, and here's a critical point. You believe that meaning that you put to that experience to be absolutely true. So because you believe it to be true, you started to live that character. You started to live that identity. So therefore, you created your own identity. So because you created your character, you started to live that way over and over and over again. That's how. This is the reason why this can go on for 30 years. This is why it's so important for you today to realize that you can create any identity you want because you can use your words to create. So the power in your life is to know how to use your words. So what I'm saying is that people use words to either destroy or to create. So today, the key to this message is so that we learn to use our words in a kind way to create the relationships and the lifestyles that we want. Again, if you have been verbal bullied, you have to understand that it's not your fault. You have to understand that it's all based on fear. And you might be saying, well, what are you talking about? Fear. Like the bully doesn't seem like he's afraid. Yeah, well, it won't because it's all like a facade, right? It's a false front. Okay. The reason why the person is name calling you is because they're not happy. So what they're doing is they're trying to make you unhappy, right? So they can make themselves happy. Because if they were, because they, that's really you really need to understand this, right? If if a person is happy, what would they do? They'll be doing happy things. So if a person is doing nasty things, that's because that's who they are on the inside. You have to understand this here. A fruit, let's take for example an apple. An apple has seeds on the inside, right? The seeds on the inside create what's on the outside. So when you plant an apple seed in the ground, the apple seed will eventually turn into an apple tree, and then the apple tree will actually make apples. So therefore, we are no different. What you see on the outside is what's going on the inside. So when you see a bully calling you names, being very nasty, being very cruel, you know that's what's going on the inside of them. They're not happy. So this is where you get your power. But this is where you need to be aware of what's going on because you're going to think there's something wrong with you. And the minute you believe that there's something wrong with you and you believe it to be true, then you create this lifestyle of something's wrong with me. And you start to live it because you get what you give. The more you give that something's wrong with you, the more that you get back that something's wrong with you. So you're caught into this vicious cycle of going around that there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. And I'm going to say it one more time. There's nothing wrong with you. You are unique. You were born the way you are, and you can create whatever you want, and you can be whatever you want. Okay? Now, what you can do, here's some solutions of how you can handle a person who, well, it depends on the situation because sometimes verbal bullying can come from a parent. And that is a very serious situation to be in because if you go and you speak to another person and you ask for help, that parent can now, when they get you alone, and say, well, why did you tell this person this? Why did you tell this person that? And the verbal bullying gets worse. So leave in the comment below, right? What do you think is a good solution if you have a child who's living in a house where they have a parent that's doing verbal bullying to them? Like, how can they survive that? Right? Leave the comments below. Like I said before, right? One of these solutions is to ask for help. let somebody know about it. And it's like I said in other videos, bullying can be a cultural norm. It could be a part of the family dynamics. So it's bullying is very complicated issue. But hopefully that if the parent who is bullying their child is watching this, they can now realize that the seeds that they're sowing in their child is destroying their child's future, and destroying generations that are going to come, because everything reproduces after its own kind. Therefore, if I'm being abusive to my child, he or she will end up being abusive, and then it just keeps going and going and going and going, because you get what you give. It's a principle. Okay, so what I want to close on here is that, again, words are so powerful, right? Words were used to create the universe, to create heaven and earth. So our words can also be used to create the life that we want to have. Words are seeds. We are sowing seeds into other people's life, right? And when we use words of kindness, when we have empathy, when we include people in our life, when we build people's lives up, when we learn to love, and we learn to inspire, all right, and be an inspiration to other people, and use words that get people motivated, then you will see that the world will change. You know, the last thing that you need to realize is this. This is something that it took me many, many years to master. You have to understand that everything is always moving more and more into discord. So, in order for us to create something that is great or that is good, we're going to have to be intentional. So, we have to be intentional with the words that we use, because it's very easy to say unkind words. We don't have to think. I don't have to think to be nasty, but I have to think, or I have to be intentional to be nice. Okay? Because everything is moving more and more into disorder. So, if we do nothing, all we got to do is neglect, and things will get worse. But if we want to make things better, we have to be intentional with our actions. We have to be intentional with our words. Okay? So if you got anything out of the video, remember to like, subscribe, and to share this across the planet, so that we can spread love and then teach other people why words are the most powerful tool. And I'll see you on the next video.